Hey there everybody, I hope you're having a good day. The goal of D&D is for people to have fun, share their ideas, and roll some dice in a cool fantasy adventure. Whether it's a creepy dungeon or in space, battling against fantastical aliens who are riding sail ships through the stars. There are a few things that players can keep in mind to make the gaming experience better, rather than putting all the work on the game master. This is a group activity. This is a collaborative experience after all. So I want to go over a few habits that I feel that players should practice and work on to be better players at the table. You're not my dungeon master! First, embrace creativity and take risks. Just like going to a casino and gambling. Before you get to roll that dice, you gotta put the money on the table. As a game master, what I like to do is ask my players to describe their action before they roll, and I ask them to describe it as if they know it's going to be a critical success. When I started doing this, a few of my players often said, well, I don't want to put that creative energy into something that couldn't work or might not work out. And my response was, well, then I'm not going to give you something in return. You miss, let's move on. I can respond to a low roll or a high roll more creatively if you put the initiative in creating something amazing for that roll. You can describe the greatest thing and you can roll low, but then you have to trust that I, the dungeon master, will take that creativity and spring off of that. How the sword looks when it meets their flesh and you roll and you miss. I can say, as your sword strikes their flesh, magic protects their body. Or you thought it was about to hit their flesh, but they actually just moved just slightly and the sword gets caught in their armor. Quick, make a strength saving throw to keep the sword in your hand before they twist it out of yours. I can play off of your idea. And on top of that, when you list off an amazing description of an idea before making the roll, everyone around the table starts to pay attention. Something interesting's happened. They're saying something interesting. Oh, and they're rolling for it. I hope that roll turns out well. It's one of the reasons why I really don't care for damage rolls. They don't matter. They really don't. For my games, it's half the die damage plus the modifier, and then max damage on a critical success. Because that's all that really matters when it comes to damage. But your description on how you attack, how you cast that spell, how you roll that check or that saving throw, that's interesting. That is a place and a time for your ideas, your mind, your perspective, your thoughts to shine and take a risk. Number 2, know the rules. Kind of preachy, so I'm going to try to say it in a way that isn't preachy. Things that you can do to know the rules. Let's go over that first. You can read the player's handbook, you can read your class description, you can read the spells that you have and do your best to memorize them. You can have spell cards, you can have cheat sheets, you can have little knickknacks that can help remind you. You can also ask the dungeon master a question. Yes, their monsters and villains are against you, but they should not be against you. They should be helping you make sure that we can figure things out. Ask another player. Maybe they know that rule better than you because they cast that spell more often. Look up more videos like this. Watch videos to help improve your knowledge of the rules so that way you can have something there when you sit down to play. If your dungeon master has homebrews, like new rules for the game, tell them to send that shit to you. If they have lore for the game, like the setting for their new world, they have to send that stuff to you. That way you can play the game accordingly and share the right ideas that fit the thing that we're all choosing to play. Pirates in space, I need to know that and how that kind of just generally in a single page works. Force your dungeon master to send you their lore that you need to play the game, not solve the mystery, but play the game, including their homebrews. Teamwork. This is really important, just like any game, even a sport. Everyone around the table is a team. That's the goal. Yes, there can be conflict between the characters, but never the players because we are a team creating something together. If inner conflict happens among the table, make sure after the game or after the scene to check in. Like, hey, you good? Are you good? Like, hug it out, fist bump, whatever you need to make sure that we're good. That was just our characters and we were deep in it together, making something. That doesn't exist. It's awesome. As a team, don't judge people for making choices that you wouldn't have made. Maybe I don't want to make the optimized choice. Maybe this makes more sense to me. That's okay. If I'm so optimized and I'm gonna judge you for making a non-optimized choice, I better be really good at adjusting my choices to unoptimized situations since I'm so optimized in the first place. Avoid saying wait or don't when somebody is about to do something. Someone chooses to share their idea, let them share their idea and stick to it. Don't second guess it. Don't be like, oh, you don't want to do that. Don't back out of an idea either. Commit to it. If something crazy happens, something crazy happens. Don't play it safe. Remember the first thing, risks. You got to trust your team to take risks as well. And you got to be adjustable to those risks, which brings up the next thing. Adapt and be patient. It can go 1,000 different directions, solely based on our choices as players. So rather than telling people around the table what to do and what not to do, practice adapting, practice being patient. Oh shoot, they just chose to do that? Holy crap. What do I do? What do I do? I'm gonna wait to see how this kind of plays out a little bit. Some thoughts. I can do that. Maybe I can do this. Okay. Write that down so I don't quickly forget. What's going on? Oh crap. Jump in. Yes, and. Yes, that happened. And therefore, I will do this. Adapt and be patient. Listen. These are things that we ask people day to day to do. We ask our partners, our parents, our children, our friends. We ask them to do that. So practice doing that here in a safe place where it's not a big deal. We're making a story through our imagination. If you don't know what's going to happen, that's okay. Dungeon Masters, players, it's okay to not know what's going to happen next. It's okay to take a beat and ask for a moment to think. It's okay to ask, let me double check my sheet. I want to make sure I'm doing a thing that I want to do, not something that I feel pressured to do. Let me think about how I would respond to that. You guys don't have to be in a live play. There are people watching you. Like, you said that to me? Yeah. Okay, let me think about how my character would respond to that. I personally feel that I would probably get angry and storm out, but I don't think my character would do that. I think my character would like face you head on and say something in response, maybe something about how you treated other people in the last town we were at and how I kind of didn't like that. Right there is role play. That is role playing. You're working through your idea, you're working through your thought. You don't have to do what Critical Role does or Dimension 20, what we do on the Actual Play Adventures on this channel. You can work through your thoughts together. And then somebody can be like, oh, and don't forget, you would have probably mentioned this, or would you have thought this, or would you have not thought this? Oh, that's a good idea. Do you have to do that all the time? No. Is that an option that you're allowed to do? Yes. And a very important thing to do is hit the like button and recommend this video to other people on YouTube by telling me down below, what is a habit that you wish more players would do? A habit that you wish more Dungeon Masters would do? As someone with ADHD, it can be really hard to not get distracted and really focus my attention, and especially in combat, that goes really long. But what I found that helps the most is just putting in the effort in paying attention, respecting my fellow players with what they're going to do. Maybe I can help the Dungeon Master move minis around. Maybe I can track the initiative for people. Maybe I make sure that the Dungeon Master is getting their water and their snack breaks because they're so hyper-focused on everything that's happening they can forget to take care of themselves. What makes a good player in Dungeons & Dragons is what makes a good friend to have at game night. That's it. You know, that you want somebody who knows the rules or puts the effort in learning the rules. You have somebody, whether they're a hardcore optimizer or a not so optimizer, they don't judge other people for making their own choices. They support people with respect and with respect of the time that they need and respect in that their idea matters too. In fact, that's where the fun comes. It's trusting in each other and having a good group of friends that you can have that experience with. And I know this video is about players, but I want to talk about the Dungeon Master for just a moment. This is for players though. Instead of debating rules of the Dungeon Master, accept their adjudication and discuss it later. Keep the game moving. Let's have a good time. Let's play the game. When the Dungeon Master is role-playing a character for you in a scene with you, make sure to give them some eye contact, nodding, some gestures of confirming that you're in there with them. Even if it's not the easiest, maybe you can be distracted or you guys come up for air and laugh, but make sure that you're showing that you are paying attention. I mentioned this before, consider reminding your GM to take a break, whether it's water, snacks, bathroom, just stretch their legs. They're so hyper-focused on so much that's happening and DJing the party. Just a friendly reminder, hey, let's take a break so we can all stretch our legs. We'll refresh our brain so we can approach every problem slightly different. Big shout out to all the backers on this channel, from YouTube members and Patreon members. If you want to support the channel, hit that subscribe button. If you want to go above and beyond, join Patreon, and I'll see you in the Discord.
Listening to 102.3.